The war chamber aboard the Zarathus was a cavern of shadows and steel. Jagged pillars stretched toward a dark ceiling, lit only by the cold glow of countless holographic star maps. The air thrummed with tension. At the center, the Torvak High Council gathered, a grim assembly of armored warlords with glowing red eyes that burned like embers in the dark. Their voices rumbled through the vast chamber, harsh and low. Commander Varkoth, the lead Torvak general, slammed a clawed fist on the holotable. The Galactic Alliance is crumbling. Their fleets scatter like frightened rodents. Humanity is the weakest link. Fragile mammals, slow and predictable. Beside Varkoth, the Farran delegates shifted uneasily. Their sleek, silver-scaled forms shimmered under the dim light. One whispered, "We have seen humans before. Clumsy, slow-breeding creatures. How can they hope to stand against the might of the Torvak?" Varkoth sneered. "They cannot. They are insects beneath our boot. Their bones break easily, their technology primitive. The final assault will crush them within weeks." Another Torvak commander, a veteran named Krell, tapped a claw against his breastplate. "Still, I remember tales from the elder races, whispers of humans who defied fate. But those are old myths, stories told to scare children." A silver-scaled Farran envoy named Silra nodded cautiously. "True, but every time we strike, humans surprise us. They endure far beyond reason." Varkoth's growl cut through the doubt. "Endure? No, they survive by luck, nothing more. Our fleets are millions strong. Their colonies are exposed, their fleets weak. Once we take the human core worlds, the Alliance will shatter like glass." Silra's eyes flickered with unease. "Still, we cannot ignore their stubbornness. The humans fight with reckless courage." A sharp laugh rippled from the council. "Recklessness is weakness. We will exploit it. Let their arrogance be their downfall." Varkoth stood taller, his shadows stretching across the war chamber. "The Torvak dreadnoughts and Farran cruisers will strike simultaneously. Surprise, speed, and overwhelming force. The humans will fall before they can react." He gestured to the glowing star maps. The hologram shifted, zooming in on the cluster of human systems, clusters of blue and green dots, fragile worlds surrounded by hostile darkness. "Prepare the fleets," Varkoth ordered. "Begin the final assault on the human core. Their collapse will break the Alliance. The galaxy will bow to Torvak rule." A hush fell. The council absorbed the weight of the command. The sharp metallic clinks of armor echoed as the warlords took their places. Outside the chamber, the Zarathus thrummed with battle readiness. Krell stepped forward, voice low. "There are legends, yes? Stories from the Velrith and Corlin about human resilience. They say humans rewrite their destiny, but I say let the myths remain myths. We deal with what we see." Varkoth's eyes glowed brighter. "What we see is weakness. What we will do is destroy it." Silra's voice was quieter now. "May the coming storm be swift." Varkoth grinned, sharp teeth flashing. "The storm is ours to command." Outside the war chamber, the Torvak fleets gathered like a dark tide ready to crash. Farran cruisers slipped into formation alongside the massive dreadnoughts. The plan was simple and brutal. Strike fast, strike hard, and wipe humanity from the stars. "We expected no resistance," Varkoth said, voice echoing through the Zarathus. "Humanity is the easiest prey we have faced in centuries." But deep beneath the confidence, a flicker of doubt stirred, an ancient caution buried beneath layers of hatred and pride. The Torvak dismissed it. They believed this war was already won. Humanity was doomed. They were about to learn how wrong that assumption would be. As the Torvak's eyes scanned the stars, ancient warnings echoed through their history, omens they had long ignored but now could no longer escape. Deep within the Farran archives, shimmering holo scrolls flickered. Dusty records from elder races glowed faintly in the dim chamber. Ancient images of humans appeared, shadowy figures battling impossible odds, surviving death itself. A Farran scholar named Vela traced a fragile line of light across a star map. Her silver scales caught the eerie glow. "The humans are not like other prey we have hunted," she murmured. "They change, they adapt. They survive where others fall." Nearby, a Velrith elder, a tall, slender being wreathed in shifting colors, rose with slow grace. Their many eyes reflected millennia of wisdom. "In their blood burns a fire old as the cosmos," they said softly. "The human spirit does not bow. It refuses to break." Across the chamber, Torvak warlords listened with tight jaws and narrowed eyes. Their jagged armor clinked as they shifted uneasily. Commander Vorthok growled, "Spirits and fires. These are tales for children. Humans breed slowly. Their flesh is soft. They are weak." Vila's voice sharpened. "Weak?" The humans survived the shattering wars, cataclysms that destroyed entire worlds. They rebuilt. They rose from ashes when others crumpled. A murmur stirred among the Farran delegates. "Their evolution is unpredictable," said one. "In a single generation they leap where others stagger for centuries." Vorthok scoffed loudly. "My ancestors faced monsters born in dying stars. They crushed them without second thought. Humans are but insects underfoot." A Corlin historian, their translucent limbs shimmering, stepped forward. "The records are clear. Humans defy fate itself. They do not follow the path written by the stars. They carve their own." Vorthok slammed a fist against a metallic console. "Legends and myths. We have no time for old stories and foolish fears. We will end them before they learn to fight." But inside his chest, a small flicker of doubt sparked, a cold ember he could neither smother nor explain. Vila's eyes gleamed. The warnings were given for a reason. The elder races saw what lies beneath the human skin, a relentless will. A hunger for survival that bends reality. The Velrith elder nodded. When the galaxy turns against them, humanity becomes a storm, not seen until it crashes, devastating and final. A Farran scientist adjusted her holodisplay, showing human DNA strands twisting and shifting faster than expected. "Their biology defies our predictions," she explained. "Rapid adaptation, immunity to poisons, resistance to radiation. They evolve in real time." Vorthok growled again, but smaller this time. "We will test their limits. We will break them." Vila's gaze hardened. "You will learn why the ancients warned us. The human is the enemy you cannot underestimate." The chamber fell silent. The shadow of ancient fear settled briefly over the Torvak steel. Commander Freya Johansson and Commander Amina Chebe could never hear these whispers. Far away, aboard the UESN Champion, they prepared to prove the Elders right. But the galaxy was about to discover a truth long ignored. Humanity was not fragile. They were a force born from fire and dust, and their time was coming. But while the galaxy feared the ancient Torvak prophecies, Commander Freya Johansson saw a chance to change what everyone thought was destiny. The bridge of the UESN Champion was a hive of focused energy. Sleek consoles blinked with data streams. Holographic star maps rotated slowly above the central table. Outside, the stars stretched vast and cold, a silent reminder of what was at stake. Freya stood tall in the center, her sharp eyes tracing the familiar patterns of the frontier systems. Her dark hair was pulled back tight, her uniform crisp. Calm settled over her like armor. "Commander!" Amina Chebe's voice broke the silence. She leaned over a tactical display, her fingers dancing across the controls. "We've received distress signals from the outer colonies. The Torvak forces are moving faster than our scouts predicted." Freya nodded, her expression unreadable. "They want to crush us before we can rally the Alliance fleets." Amina glanced up, her dark eyes sharp with urgency. "Our ships are stretched thin. We don't have the numbers for a full defensive line." "Numbers don't win wars," Freya said quietly, stepping closer. "Strategy does, and this time we have more than that." Commander Rashid Qasim entered the bridge with a measured stride. His gray-streaked beard gave him the look of a seasoned warrior. "I hear the Torvak are confident," he said with a dry smile. "They always underestimate us." Freya smiled faintly. "They think we're fragile mammals, slow to adapt, easy to break." Rashid's eyes gleamed with hard-earned wisdom. "They forget one thing. We have something they can't understand. Something they never saw coming." Freya gestured to the holographic map. "The Torvak fleet is massing near the Alara system. They plan to strike at our core worlds next. If we lose Alara, the entire alliance collapses." Amina's gaze hardened. "Then it's our last stand." "No," Freya said firmly. "It's only the beginning." She paused, letting the weight of her words fill the room. 3 years ago," she continued, "our scientists began Project Phoenix 1111, a secret gambit designed to turn the tide against enemies like the Torvak." Amina raised an eyebrow. "You mean the Phoenix Protocol?" Freya nodded. "Yes, it's more than just technology. It's a new way to fight, fast, adaptive, unpredictable." Rashid stepped forward. Adaptive nanotech that repairs ships mid-battle. AI that learns enemy tactics in real time. Stealth systems that cloak entire fleets. Freya's voice grew steady, commanding. It's the edge we need, but it's untested in full combat. That's why we hold our position here, near Elara, to buy time for Phoenix to activate. The bridge crew exchanged tense glances. The weight of their mission settled like gravity. Amina's fingers hovered over a console. If the Torvak knew what we're hiding, they'd come harder. That's why it stays hidden, Freya said. We don't need just defense. We need to break their will. Suddenly, a warning beep echoed through the bridge. A red blip flashed on the tactical map. Incoming Torvak fighters, Amina reported, voice tight. Freya's eyes sharpened, voice tight. Freya's eyes sharpened. Revide! This is our proving ground. The champion hummed with energy as weapon systems came online. Outside, the void darkened with the ominous shapes of enemy ships. Freya turned to her officers. Remember this, they see us as weak, fragile, easy prey. She paused, looking each of them in the eye. Let them learn what it means to face humans who refuse to break. Amina smiled grimly. Then let's give them a lesson they'll never forget. Freya nodded. On my command, stand ready. The bridge lights dimmed slightly, screens flickered with battle data, and the crew braced themselves. In the cold silence of space, the champion waited. The war for the galaxy was about to be rewritten, and humanity would be the author. Just as Commander Freya Johansson steadied her breath, the calm, shattered red warning lights flared, and the first Torvak ships tore through the darkness, launching their deadly strike. The void outside the champion's hull erupted in fire. Massive Torvak dreadnoughts, like black mountains with glowing crimson engines, opened their plasma batteries. Blasts of green fire streaked toward the outer colonies. Shields at 20%, shouted Lieutenant Rios from the tactical console. His face was pale, eyes wide. Commander Amina Chebe leaned over her station. They hit hard and fast. Faran cruisers are swarming in from the flanks. We're outnumbered. Freya's jaw clenched. Status of the Excalibur and Eclipse? Excalibur took a hit to its main engines, losing mobility, Rios answered. Eclipse's hangar bay is breached. We're losing fighter support. Outside, the communications channel crackled with panicked voices. Colony outposts screamed for help. Explosions rippled through space like deadly fireworks. The Torvak fleet was a storm. Vast, relentless, brutal. Focus defense on the civilian transports, Freya ordered, voice steady but urgent. Divert all power to forward shields. We hold the line. Amina tapped commands rapidly. Deploying interceptor squads, but their numbers are thin. Torvak fighters are overwhelming us. The champion's bridge shook as a plasma bolt slammed into its outer hull. Sparks scattered from consoles. Damage report, Freya demanded. Hull breach in Sector 4, Rios said. Life support holding but unstable. On the view screen, the swirling chaos of battle unfolded. Torvak ships moved with cold precision. Faran strike teams, sleek, silver-scaled warriors, disembarked in rapid assault pods, targeting supply stations and communication arrays. Faran boarding pods detected, Amina said, eyes scanning. They're aiming for the supply depot near Vega Prime. Not on my watch, Freya growled. She triggered emergency protocols. All units prepare evacuation routes. If we must retreat, we retreat in order. Still, the damage was mounting. The human fleet was bleeding fast. Commander, Rios said, voice tight. Supply lines are cut. We're losing ground. Freya's mind raced. The Torvak had anticipated everything. Their ambush was surgical, ruthless. Hold fast, she said. We've faced worse. Suddenly, the view screen lit up with a new horror. Faran boarding pods closing in on the Excalibur's crippled engines. Excalibur is falling, Amina whispered. Freya clenched her fists. Then they'll fall with honor. The Eclipse's captain radioed in, voice crackling. Commander, we're dead in the water here. Evacuating non-combatants. Freya nodded grimly. Send your fighters to cover retreat. Well, hold the rear guard. A piercing alarm shattered the tense atmosphere. Warning! Torvak Dreadnought Zarathus entering system. The Dreadnought was a terror in the void, towering, jagged, weapons blazing. It unleashed a fusillade that rocked the champion. Brace for impact, Freya yelled. The ship shuddered violently. Panels exploded. The bridge filled with smoke. Damage to propulsion arrays, Rios shouted. We're losing speed. Can we outrun them? Amina asked, voice tight. Freya shook her head. No. Bon. They want us trapped. The Torvak ships closed in, their red eyes glowing like death itself. "Prepare for boarding defense," Freya ordered. "I want every deck sealed and every soldier at their post." Outside, the colonies burned. "Commander," a voice crackled over comms, "we have civilians trapped on Vega Prime. Requesting emergency evac." Freya's heart clenched. "Send every available transport. We can't lose them." But the Farran strike teams had already disabled key supply lines. Communications were broken. The Galactic Alliance's lifeblood was severed. Inside the Champion, tension mounted like a tightening noose. Amina looked up. "Morale is falling. People are scared." Freya met her gaze. "Good. Let them be scared. Fear sharpens the mind." "Commander," Rio said quietly, "we're barely holding together." "If this keeps up, we will not break," Freya interrupted. "Not today." The Champion was the last intact human warship in this sector, the final shield between the Torvak onslaught and total collapse. "Prepare for tactical retreat if necessary," Freya said. "But we will not cower." Suddenly, an explosion rocked the Champion. The lights flickered. "Hit on the aft hull," Rios cried. Freya slammed her fist on the console. "Status report." "We're still operational," Rios said, "but only just." The Farran strike teams had crippled supply depots, and Torvak dreadnoughts bombarded everything. The Galactic Alliance was on the verge of collapse. Yet amid the chaos, Freya's voice was steady. "Hold your ground! Stand your post! We fight because we must!" Outside, the Torvak fleet advanced like a tidal wave. Inside, humanity braced for the storm. And only the Champion sailed unscathed, carrying the last hope of a shattered alliance. The war had begun in fire, and humanity was bleeding, but far from defeated. As explosions rocked the command center, Commander Johansson's eyes narrowed. She was ready to reveal the secret weapon no one saw coming. The bridge of the Champion shuddered under enemy fire. Red lights flashed, warning sirens screamed. Around her, officers scrambled, trying to keep the ship alive. Freya's voice cut through the chaos. "Activate Phoenix Protocol." Amina Chabe glanced at her, surprise flashing in her eyes. "You're serious? Now?" Freya nodded. "We have no choice. It's time." The engineers at their station swapped frantic glances. Suddenly, the hum of the ship changed. Systems that moments ago struggled to stay online now surged with new power. "Deploying nanotech swarms," the lead engineer announced. The bridge filled with holographic displays. Tiny blue and silver specks danced across 3D schematics of the Champion and the fleet beyond. "These nanobots will repair hull breaches and adapt our weapons on the fly," explained Amina, her voice steady despite the tension. Freya's eyes gleamed. "They don't just fix us, they learn. Every hit we take makes us stronger." Outside, enemy plasma bolts slammed into the Champion shields. But nanobots swarmed over the damage, sealing cracks faster than the energy could destroy. Amina tapped her console, pulling up the Phoenix AI interface. "Athena online." A soft female voice filled the room, calm and precise. "Commander Johansson, tactical analysis complete. Enemy patterns identified. Recommending countermeasures." The AI's hologram shimmered into view, a sleek, glowing figure with sharp, shifting features. Freya smiled. "Good. Athena, initiate adaptive counterstrike." Instantly, human ships shifted formation. New tactics emerged, unexpected, unpredictable. The Torvak fleet had prepared for a slow, steady fight. They had counted on human ships breaking before their shields. Instead, the Champion and its escorts danced through the barrage like water flowing around rocks. Meanwhile, stealth drone swarms slipped silently into the enemy lines. Amina watched the live feed from their drones. They're mimicking Torvak signals, confusing their fleet. On the main hologram, Torvak ships blinked as if caught in a storm of false orders. Fighters turned on their own cruisers. Missiles launched, then veered off course. Farran commanders barked at their screens, struggling to regain control. "They think they've already won," Freya said softly. "Let's remind them why they're wrong." She tapped a sequence on her console. "Send the guerrilla squads to hit their supply depots." Seconds later, stealth fighters streaked from hidden pockets. "Target locked on Farran supply convoy," Amina reported. "Engaging." Explosions erupted in dark space as human commandos sabotaged enemy fuel lines and ammo depots. Back on the bridge, tension shifted into fierce hope. "Enemy fleet morale is dropping," Athena informed. "Our countermeasures are disrupting command." Good, Freya said. Keep the pressure. The Faran envoy aboard the Zarathus snarled at his console. These humans, their technology is evolving faster than we predicted, a Torbak general growled. They've unlocked something ancient and dangerous. Inside the champion, Amina's fingers flew over her keyboard, hacking into a dreadnought's core systems. Freya's eyes shone with fierce pride. Do it. Show them what humans are capable of. The screen filled with a cascade of encrypted codes. Then, the dreadnought's engines faltered, systems sparked, doors sealed shut. The Torvak dreadnought exploded in a brilliant flare, its destruction visible across the battlefield. A stunned silence hit enemy channels. Humans just destroyed one of our largest warships from inside, a Farron officer muttered. Freya turned to Amina. That's the turning point. Now, we take the fight to them. Amina nodded, excitement lighting her face. Phoenix Protocol isn't just tech. It's our spirit, our will to adapt and survive. Freya raised her voice so all could hear. We fight not because we want war, but because we refuse to lose. Outside, the champion surged forward, shielded by nanotech and commanded by Athena's lightning-fast strategies. The Torvak fleet faltered. The Farran cruisers hesitated. Human ingenuity had pulled them from the brink, and Freya Johansson was just getting started. As the truth of humanity's hidden power settled over the room, Commander Johansson stepped forward, her voice steady but filled with fierce resolve. This war started because you believed we were weak, Freya said, her eyes burning like twin stars. You called us fragile mammals, easy prey, insects to be crushed underfoot. The bridge fell silent. Every human and alien listening heard the weight behind her words. But you were wrong. Her voice rose, echoing through the ship's comm systems and beyond, reaching the ears of the Torbak dreadnoughts and Farran cruisers closing in around them. We are not what you expected. We are the storm you never saw coming. Freya's gaze locked with Amina Shabay, who nodded sharply. The tactical consoles glowed brightly as maneuvers flashed across the holographic maps. The Phoenix Protocol was no longer just a secret. It was humanity's sword and shield. For centuries you have hunted us, counted our losses, counted us out. But you ignore the truth written in our bones. She paused, letting the silence stretch like a blade. We are survivors. We don't just endure catastrophe. We rise from the ashes. Every war, every plague, every threat, we grow stronger, sharper, smarter. The Farran, listening on the comm channel, exchanged uneasy glances. The Torvak commanders leaned forward, their red eyes narrow slits of suspicion and fear. You think this is a simple battle in a forgotten corner of the galaxy? Freya continued. No, this is a war for our future. For every child born under a burning sky, for every soul who dares to dream freedom. Her voice grew louder, commanding. We have kept secrets you never dreamed possible. Nanotech that heals faster than you can strike. AI minds that adapt in real time, turning your tactics against you. Guerrilla fighters who strike from shadows you cannot track. She stepped up to the central viewport, the stars blazing cold and distant beyond the glass. We do not bow. We do not break. We write our own fate. Freya clenched her fist. You believed us weak. You believed fate was sealed. But we are the authors of our own story, and it ends with your undoing. On the bridge behind her, human crew members straightened, their faces set with determination. Even the oldest officers, worn from months of battle, felt the fire rekindle in their hearts. This is more than a war, she said softly, almost a whisper that carried across the void. This is a message to every corner of the galaxy. Humanity fights. Humanity conquers. Humanity conquers. Humanity will not fall. She turned back to the holomap, fingers dancing over controls. Ships blinked to life, ready for the next strike. To the Torbak and Farran fleets, hear this well. You may have the numbers, you may wield ancient power, but you lack the one thing that makes us unstoppable. Her voice dropped to a fierce growl. The human spirit. Amina stepped forward, adding sharp words of her own. We adapt, we innovate, we bleed, and we fight harder. She pointed to the holographic display showing enemy formations. Your ships will fall, your plans will crumble, your pride will shatter. The Torbak admiral on the receiving end of the broadcast snarled. The Farran hesitated, their confidence shaken. The message was no mere threat, it was a promise. Freya raised her voice once more. This is your last warning. Turn back while you still can, or stand against the storm." She let those words hang in the electric air. "Because we don't just fight for survival. We fight for victory, for honor, for every life you thought was insignificant." Her voice softened briefly, filled with deep, unyielding conviction. "We will drag the Galactic Alliance from the brink. We will carve a path through your darkest nightmares. And when this war is done, the stars will remember the name of humanity." The bridge erupted in cheers. The human fleet readied itself, hearts pounding with renewed courage. Freya's words traveled across light years, stirring something new in friend and foe alike. "We write our own fate. Prepare to be undone." But just when hope seemed lost, Commander Johansson's fierce resolve sparked a change no one saw coming. The tide of war was about to turn. The Champion cut through the black void, its hull gleaming with fresh nanotech repairs. Around it, the human fleet pulsed with renewed life. Ships once crippled now shimmered, their wounds healed almost instantly. The Phoenix Protocol was no longer a secret. It was an unstoppable weapon. Commander Johansson, Amina Chabay's voice crackled through the comms, sharp as ever. "Our drones have scrambled Torvak signals again. Their fleet is confused. We're seeing gaps in their formation." Freya's eyes narrowed. "Good. We hit those gaps hard and fast. Rashid, prepare the pincer maneuver." On the bridge, Admiral Rashid Qasim's calm voice responded. "All wings ready." "Well, trap them in the Xeron star cluster's gravity well. Once inside, they won't escape." Outside, the battle raged. Torvak dreadnoughts fired volleys of plasma bolts. Faran cruisers danced between beams, sleek and deadly. But the humans were no longer just defenders. They were predators. Human fighters darted like swarms of hornets, their sleek shapes blurred as they weaved through enemy fire. Each pilot was a master of instinct and daring, exploiting every weakness. "Target that dreadnought," Freya commanded. "Amina, launch your stealth drones. Confuse their sensors." Amina's fingers danced over the console. "Drones away. They're mimicking Torvak signals. Their ships are turning on each other. Chaos in the enemy ranks." The Champion surged forward, its weapons locking on the Zarathus, the Torvak flagship. Energy beams sliced the darkness, striking the giant ship's command array. "Shields down to 40%, came an alarm. "Hull breach in Sector 7, keep firing," Freya shouted. "Disable their command links." Suddenly, the Zarathus blinked. Its systems flickered and faded. The once-feared dreadnought was blinded, its fleet leader cut off. Around the Champion, the chaos spread. Torvak and Faran ships faltered. Their AI networks struggled against Athena, the human AI controlling the Phoenix Protocol. "Athena's hacking their coordination," Amina said. "Eyes wide. They're blind and directionless." The Faran admiral's furious growl echoed through intercepted channels. "They fight like demons possessed. This is no ordinary human resistance." On the Champion, Freya's voice was steel. "They underestimated us. They thought we were fragile mammals. Today, they learned their mistake." Rashid's voice came steady as he ordered, "Pincer attack commencing." All units converge on the Xeron cluster. The Torvak fleet found itself trapped. The gravity well crushed their speed and maneuverability. Human ships closed in from every direction. "Incoming fighters at high velocity," one crewman warned. Human pilots met them head-on, fearless. They twisted, turned, and dodged with skill no alien machine could predict. "Eject the boarding pods," Freya ordered. "We're taking the Zarathus from the inside." A squadron of human commandos launched in stealth pods. Moments later, airlock seals hissed and opened aboard the crippled dreadnought. Freya led the boarding party herself, her boots clanging on cold metal corridors. Around her, Torvak warriors snarled and charged. "Remember who you fight," Freya shouted, firing her pulse rifle. "Humanity does not break." The boarding team fought with ruthless efficiency. They captured the Torvak High Council members one by one. "Broadcast their surrender," Freya commanded through her comb. "Let the galaxy hear that the Torvak rule is broken. Torvak High Council, you are prisoners of the Galactic Alliance. Your war of conquest ends today." The enemy ships froze. Confusion rippled like wildfire. Amina smiled. "Their morale is cracking. Good, Freya said, her voice calm but fierce. We're just getting started. In orbit around the Xeron cluster, the human fleet tightened its grip. The Phoenix protocol spread like wildfire. Ships repaired faster, weapons adapted, tactics shifted instantly. Torvok and Firon commanders found themselves outmatched on every front. Commander Johansson, Rashid said over the comms, the enemy fleet is breaking apart. They're retreating. Freya's eyes scanned the battle map, filled with bright red enemy icons shrinking and blue human markers advancing. We turn the tide, she whispered, because we refuse to accept defeat. Outside, the stars bore witness to humanity's resurgence. The once fragile species was now a storm, relentless and unstoppable. The Galactic Alliance rallied behind this shining beacon of hope, and the war had only just begun. As the dust settled and the enemy faltered, Commander Freya and Amina knew this hard-won moment was just the beginning of a new battle for the galaxy's future. The battered human fleet gathered in orbit around the reclaimed colony world of Epsilon Prime. Starships of every class hovered like scars on a dark canvas. The air was thick with the scent of burnt plasma and the quiet hum of repair drones working non-stop. Freya stood on the bridge of the Champion, her sharp eyes scanning the holographic star map. The glow of 1,000 distant suns reflected in her determined gaze. We pushed them back, Amina said softly beside her. But the Torvok and Firon will be back. They always are. Freya nodded, her voice steady. They underestimated us from the start. They believed humans were fragile, slow, easy to crush. She paused and looked at the faces of her crew. Men and women tired but unbroken, warriors who had faced death and refused to bow. We showed them what it means to fight with heart, to fight with fire, Freya continued. The Galactic Alliance is still standing. Because we refuse to fall. Rashid Qasim joined them, his war-scarred face carrying the weight of countless battles. The Alliance owes much to Earth's courage, but this victory is only the first step. Amina folded her arms. Our enemies lick their wounds now, but they won't wait long. Intelligence reports strange activity at the edge of the Aura Nebula. Something watches us. Freya's gaze hardened, a shadow in the dark. We've fought the Torvok and Farron, but there are greater threats beyond their reach. The holoscreen flickered, revealing images captured by deep space probes, an enormous alien fleet cloaked in stealth technology, moving silently through the nebula. Unknown ships, Rashid said grimly. Not Torvok, not Farron, something else. Freya clenched her fists. Then we prepare. We rebuild stronger. We unite the Alliance like never before. Outside the Champion, the battle-scarred hulls of human vessels gleamed under the light of Epsilon Prime's twin suns. Repair crews worked tirelessly, their movements precise and urgent. In the hangar bay, pilots and engineers shared quiet moments, their faces a mix of relief and resolve. Freya, Amina called, pulling her attention back. I spoke with the council. They want to honor you and your crew for this victory. Freya shook her head with a small smile. This was a victory for all humanity. Every hand that held a weapon, every mind that planned a strategy, we all earned this. But the council wants a symbol, a beacon of hope for the Alliance, Amina pressed. Freya's smile faded. Then let the Champion be that beacon, not just a ship, but a promise that humanity would never yield. Suddenly, the bridge alarms blared. Sensors tracked a small scout ship entering the system. Unknown design, sleek and black as a shadow. Hostile? Amina asked, fingers already on her comm panel. Unknown, Freya answered, but we're ready. The scout ship's pilot hailed them in broken galactic basic. This is Velkari of the Zephyr Syndicate, the voice crackled. We come with a warning and an offer. Freya's brow furrowed. Speak, Velkari. The war you fight is only the first wave, the pilot warned. A storm approaches from the dark space beyond the Oran Nebula. You will need allies and weapons you cannot imagine. Freya exchanged a glance with Rashid and Amina. The weight of the galaxy pressed heavier on their shoulders. Then we will stand ready, Freya replied. Together, humanity and the Galactic Alliance will face whatever comes. The scout ship vanished as swiftly as it arrived, leaving behind a ripple of uncertainty. Freya turned back to the star map. The next fight was already forming in the void. She whispered to herself, barely audible over the hum of the ship. We defied fate once. We will do it again. Outside the viewport, the stars burned bright, distant, and cold, but inside the champion a fierce light blazed, a light that no enemy, no shadow could extinguish. Because humanity was not just a species, they were a force of nature, and the galaxy was about to learn that the hard way.